It only comes back to land if everything is like super green,
right.
And then we had some concerns about the tower, so it was commanded to land out to sea.
Amazing. Can they use that again? Can they get it from the sea?
It's going to be probably blocked. Probably going to blow, is my guess. But that's fine. We actually have better versions that are in production in those factories over there.
How long will it take to produce another one of those?
We already have the next one.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. and it's better than that one. So there are big improvements with every successive.
So what makes it better?
The specific next one we have is a lot of small improvements. There's a big version of increase that'll be flying next year. That's got the version 3 of our engines. That'll look very different. And it'll be longer and have a lot more thrust and have the new next generation engines. You can see on those screens up there, that's the ship that is now going around the Earth. So if you want to maybe get a better view, if you come, let's go. So it's actually going through the dark side of, like Earth is, the region of Earth that it's going through is now dark. It'll enter the region where it's actually sunny. So it's currently sunny, about 600 miles northwest of Australia. So it'll go out of Earth's shadow, and we should be able to see it land. And that'll be pretty cool. Watching it re-enter is pretty wild because this thing flows like super hot. I mean, it looks like special effects because it's like every color. It's like purple, red, white. It's wild. If it doesn't blow up, we do have ships to try to bring it back, and then we can inspect it to learn more.
That's great. But this one won't be reused.
This one will not be reused. So this one is all about just learning. It's about learning more. This time we're going to enter at a steeper angle than before, so it's going to be a higher heating. We'll see if some of the changes we've made to the heat shield are better. So the last launch, you can actually see where it was getting really hot because we lose some heat shield, so it's like kind of glowing and little bits were melting off and that kind of thing. So hopefully this time the heat shield should be more robust. We also reduced the amount of heat shielding, so there's about 6 feet less heat shielding on the sides because we don't think that's necessary. Yeah, let's check it out.
They're still working.
It's kind of like, okay, it didn't explode. Well, I guess it's sick. Look on the bright side.
That's absolutely absurd.
Sorry?
That's absurd.
Yeah,
It's like absurd. Beyond absurd. That's coming up on 3 times the amount of power as the Saturn V.
That'd be roughly 3 times the Saturn V. Yeah.
But that's what you need.
Like 22 million pounds of thrust. The Saturn V is 7.5.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Absolutely insane. Well, and I think, there's this kind of feeling of why aren't people doing things like the Saturn V being built in the, engineered in the 60s.
Saturn V is primitive compared to Starship.
Yes, and it's insanely expensive. It wasn't sustainable.
Yeah. And it was expendable. So
yeah.
Starship is just any rocket that is fully reusable, which no one has achieved, because it is extremely difficult. Mm-hmm. Not because they didn't think about reusability.
Right.
So it was just too hard. So, and obviously we haven't achieved that either. We've got I'm hopeful that we will achieve it by next year. Mm-hmm. But at least we have a situation where we have a design where success is one of the possible outcomes.
Yeah.
So no prior design was success one of the possible outcomes for full reusability.
Well, and if you think about it, let's say you guys for some reason just were like, okay, screw it. We have to launch 300 metric tons to orbit. You could expend a rocket if you absolutely had to for some reason.
Yeah, but it'd be pointless.
It would be pointless. But you have that capability. For the first time since the Saturn V.
Well, I mean, generally, if you can do 200 tons reusable, you can do double that expendable.
Right, 400 tons.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, even to the point of if you had to do, let's say you had to do, HLS or something to try to speed it up or something, to, if orbital refueling's not done or something.
No, orbital refilling, I mean, I don't really count checkers before they hatch, but orbital refilling is really just docking with ourselves.
Yeah.
We dock with the space station all the time.
Right.
A space station is way harder to dock with than ourselves.
But will it be all docking up to a depot? Is that kind of the plan? Is there to be an orbital?
It depends on how quickly you want to launch. So if you're going to the moon, I don't think you need a depot. I think you just send a ship up and send tankers immediately.
Yeah.
And your boil-off rate will not be too bad.
Okay.
So now for the moon, you'd want to have a dedicated Earth orbit to moon system because you don't need a heat shield.
Right.
Well, I mean a heat shield to break, I suppose. Probably actually, yeah. The moon's like hotter than it seems because it doesn't have an atmosphere.
Right.
So you can't use the atmosphere to brake. So.
But if you Stargate thing,
Yeah.
and now I almost missed it trying to pull into Stargate today because
Yeah, it looks like a little hut.
yeah, it's like dwarfed by absolutely everything else out here already.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Oh, that feels nice.
Air conditioning.
Holy crap! It just keeps going.
Yeah.
I thought that was the main thing.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So there was more behind that wall.
Yeah. Holy crap. So this is more of a real factory here. This is what the other side will look like.
The other side will look like this. You know, there we're obviously just checking each tile to make sure it's not cracked and it's well seated.
How are you feeling about the way they're actually secured on there, like the mounting point? Is that
We're
decent?
continuing to iterate on the mounting point.
I
mean,
always,
it has a, 99% of the time it works well. So it's just a question of figuring out what are the 1% that have issues where it causes a tile to crack or some other problem.
I always keep thinking the one of the big challenges is that you can't access you can only access it. You can't access it from either side really. Like there's not a bolt you can screw on because you have.
It's a snap-on.
It has to be a snap-on.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the furniture mountings where you have two pieces of wood joined together and then you spin a magnet on one end it spins the nut on? I've always wondered if something like that could be.
I mean, this
applied.
is basically, it snaps on and you pretty much have to break the tile to pull it off.
Really?
Yeah. That's meant to go on and stay on.
Yeah. Well, and we still see, even on the parts that aren't tapered up, like on the main body, we still see some horizontal seams. What's the deal with those seams? I know that was pretty bad.
No, they don't really matter that much. They're just different sections of the nose cone. So, now, this is somewhat of a debate. You could wait until the whole nose cone is made, and then put the attachment points on at that point. So currently we put the tile attachment points on in sections.
Okay.
So that's why you've got a line.
The horizontal line, okay.
Yeah.
It's probably just a lot harder to, once it's all manufactured, it's just so massive, it'd be hard to put all the attachment points on. Is that kind of the problem?
There's more than one way to skin a cat. This is just a cat getting skinned.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's not to say that there is
So the the Pez door that we see on Starship now, do you think that's going to stick around, or is there still going to be a chomper someday, or is it?
Well, for the Starlink satellites, they're pretty flat, so
The chomper makes sense.
there's no point in having a giant fairing for
Flat little.
it's a giant flat pancake.
Right. What did the door test go reasonably well on the last one, or because I think you guys aren't doing anything
It had
with
some
it.
issues.
Yeah. It's pretty rudimentary, of course, I assume.
Yeah. But it's wild that you've got this sort of really quite sophisticated factory on a sandbar by the Rio Grande.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like an alien spaceship landed.
Right. Seriously. So are these thrusters here then?
Yeah.
Is that what these are?
Little jetpacks. This will take the detailed stuff of the. That might run afoul of some ITAR stuff.
Deal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anyone is going to copy us. It's a hard thing to copy.
It's come a long way since 3 tons.
Yeah, it sure has. I mean, everything's clean in this. There's no mud and dust.
It's better when it has doors on it, yeah.
I mean, everything used to have mud and dust
Yes.
and birds and things.
There's always some finite mud and dust, but it's much smaller than...
It's a long ways from.
I mean-
Mark 1 on down.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Mark 1 thing, it looked like the junkyard in Tatooine.
Which was charming.
Yeah. There was a lot of dust and mud.
Side
Yeah.
rocket.
the far side rocket. I mean, the Mach 1 was conceptual as a concept piece.
Yeah.
I'd say concept art.
Yeah.
Part of the journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So James pointed out that this actually wraps all the way around.
Yeah.
All of that still back
Yeah.
there. There's more to it.
Yeah.
That's
That's the dome line.
Jeez.
Yeah,
That's the dome line.
And the coils, that's the starter lines over there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we do have an existing factory that's wrapped around the one you just saw.
So
that's where we make the ship and the booster.
So then that will open up and you'll start
Yeah.
serpentining it basically through there.
Yeah, that we'll take down that wall there. That is, once we have the doors on the other side, we'll take down that wall, and then you'll just have factory will just kind of go as far as the eye can see.
It's so much bigger than I thought. From the road, I mean, it looks big from the road, but it's insane. It's
And
ridiculous.
then obviously the sections get gradually bigger as you go south.
Right.
So that's why things start off sort of short and then get taller as you go along.
even the roof line does that,
Yeah.
right?
It's going to get bigger if the pieces get bigger.
That's absolutely crazy. Are you guys still using, like, I remember, back in the day, there's a lot of like Tesla motors being used.
Actually, you said that
We
way.
head out that way? Okay.
So
There's a lot of Tesla motors being used, like, for the.
yeah, we just use the Tesla drive units to actuate the grid fins.
And the big flaps still too, on the ship.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. Essentially, sorry, I was thinking about something else. Yeah. Hey. Yeah, we use we're trying not to use hydraulics. It's all electric actuation.
Yeah.
So the engines are also gimbaled electrically.
Yep. So you're really moving away from hydraulics wherever possible, really.
Yeah, I think there's actually no hydraulics in the vehicle. If there's hydraulics, it's some very tiny little part.
Huh.
But I think there's none.
That's wild, actually. I can't even think of another.
There's pneumatics.
Right. A lot. For all
Yeah.
the valves and everything, obviously.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Jeez. It's surreal compared to what it was
Yeah.
just a little bit ago. Wow. It just keeps going and going. That is crazy.
Yeah.